You are listening to the Life Coach Business Podcast with Amanda Carlstad, episode number 116. Welcome to the Life Coach Business Podcast, a show for coaches who are ready to up-level their business and take their impact, leadership, and results to a whole new level. If you're ready to start taking powerful action and become the leader your business needs in order to grow and thrive, this show is for you. I'm your host, Amanda Carlstad, certified life and business coach and entrepreneurial leadership expert. Now let's get down to business. Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. I am so glad that you're here. I hope you've had a great holiday. I am super excited to talk to you all today. But before we dive into today's show, as I'm recording this episode and when we'll be dropping this episode, we are just about to turn the page to the new year. It is going to be 2022. Can you believe it? Happy New Year. I am so excited for the new year, for 2022 and for what's to come. I have so many exciting things planned in the coming years, so much that I've been working on behind the scenes to support my clients that is going to really help them take their businesses to the next level. And so many things that I have planned to bring to you all to help support you all that I'm just really, really looking forward to in the coming year, and also for what has already been happening, for what my clients are creating and what I've been creating. And I'm so glad that you are all here for it. So today I have another very special episode for you. This is the third episode in my What's Possible series. This is a series that I have been bringing to you over the last 2 weeks, which is all about what is possible. And I've been bringing you client case studies, so interviews from my clients, which really demonstrates what has been possible for them. And all of them are coaches that have achieved extraordinary success and extraordinary transformations, not only in their businesses, but also in their lives. And it's really been the result of their work and the process that I teach, and really the implementation that they have made in their businesses. And so I am so excited to bring you this series. And my goal with this series is that for all of you listening, I want these client case studies to really serve as an example for you. So when you commit and when you go all in, when you combine both the high-level mindset and high-level strategy in your business, you can see what's really possible for you. And I might add, in a very short amount of time, all of the clients that you are hearing from in this series, including the client that you're about to hear from today, have all created very high levels of success and have experienced tremendous growth in their business in a very short amount of time. And every client that I'm bringing to you is truly an example of what is possible when you do the work and when you put yourself in an environment where you're supported at a high level, when you are fully committed to your future self. And for those of you listening, you know that I talk about this all of the time in this show. When you take powerful action in your business, when you become the leader your business needs, your business growth is really a byproduct of that. So in today's episode, you're going to hear from my client, Sara Brewer, who is a certified life coach, who, by the way, is doing some really amazing work in the world. You're going to hear more about that in just a minute. And who not too long ago, in fact, it was just over a year ago when Sara and I began working together. And when we started working together, Sara was really feeling a huge lack of clarity in her business. She was at a point where she was working with clients on a one-on-one basis, but she knew that in order to go to the next level and to really create the business that she wanted, that she was going to need to expand beyond that. And she was ready for that, but she wasn't sure how. She wasn't sure how to exactly make that transition and really move through all of that in her business. And on top of that, she had a lot of limiting beliefs about her business, about herself. And you're going to hear her talk in depth about that in our interview today. And I just have to say, fast forward to today. Now, again, just over 1 year later, through our work together, not only has Sara been able to build her business to over $400,000 in annual revenue just this year, she is now consistently generating over $50,000 consistently a month in her business. And y'all, she is doing this in 25 hours per week. Yeah, you heard that right. In fact, this was one of the goals that Sara had when we started working together. She told me, in fact, in her initial call, that she really wanted to work no more than 25 hours per week so that she could be more present with her young kids. And because of that, we went to work, and that's exactly what we've been able to create. And I have to tell you that it's been so fun to witness her transformation in so many ways in this past year through our work. Not only, again, in her business, just how much has changed in her business and how amazing it is to see where she is today versus where she started, but also on a personal level and just how she has grown as the leader of her business. And so I'm so excited to bring you this client case study today because Sara truly is an example of what is possible, of what I believe is possible for all of you listening, of what is available to you when you do the work, when you really implement and apply the things that I teach. And so I know that if you're listening right now, I know that you have big goals in your business. I know that you have goals that might feel impossible to you right now. And what I want to offer to you is that even though they might feel impossible to you right now, or that goal might feel impossible to you right now, I want you to know that it is possible. And so you're going to be able to take so much from today's episode. And if you are looking to seriously take things to the next level in 2022, if you are truly ready to become an example of what is possible, and you know that you need a higher level of support, if you know you need high level support, both from a mindset and also a strategy perspective, and quite frankly, you're sick of wasting your time, then I want to invite you to apply to my high-level mastermind. If your revenue is already at, or if it's trending towards $100,000 per year, and you're looking to scale to multi-figures and beyond in 2022, and you ultimately want to grow $1 million business, then this is the container that will help you do exactly that. And if you're working towards your first 100K, so maybe if you are in the earlier stages of your business and you're working towards your first 100K, then I also want to encourage you to apply to my Business Accelerator program, which is called the Mastermind. And by the way, this is the program that every client that I've brought to you in this series, this is the program that these clients started with. So no matter where you're at in the process, I know some of you are in those earlier stages in your business. And I also know that some of you are further along and you're really looking to scale. Either way, I want to encourage you to go to my website, go to amandakarlstadcoaching.com and set up a call. You're going to be prompted to fill out a quick application for the program. But I would love to have a conversation with you and to share what I see as possible for you in 2022 and really put a strategy together for you to do that. So again, go to amandakarlstadcoaching.com. We're going to link that up in the show notes as well. I would love to help you really take things to the next level in 2022. And by the way, do it in the most accelerated way. So with that, let's dive into today's interview. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you on today. I'm really excited for our conversation. So we are going to talk about what is possible. You are such an amazing example of it. And I'm so excited to be able to bring this conversation today to my listeners and to have you on and share your journey and talk about all of the things. So before we dive into all of that, why don't you just give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are, the work you do, and whatever else you think you want to share.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm so excited.
So welcome.
I'm grateful to have this opportunity. So I am a coach who works with people who want to quit viewing porn. I have to say viewing porn because multiple times I've said who want to quit porn, and people think I'm talking about like people in the porn industry who want to get out of the porn industry.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
There's a nuance there. There's a nuance.
There is.
Yes.
That's something that I've learned. So people want to quit viewing porn, and it's in a shame-free and sex-positive way. My approach feels really new to a lot of people who are trying to quit porn and very hopeful. And so people really love it. I got into coaching. Like I found Brooke Castillo specifically in 2018, and it totally just flipped my world upside down in the best way. It was really, really life-changing to me. At that time, I was trying to decide if I should go and get my license to become a rec therapist, which is what I went to school for. Then one day was like, no, why would I want to do that if I can be a coach? And so I really dove into coaching. I started coaching just different people, and what I heard over and over and over again was, can you help me quit porn? And so that's what I really started to specialize in and focus around. And been working with you for just over a year. Since then have gone from 3 to 5K months to 50K months, and really grown really quickly in the past couple of years.
You've hired your first team members. You now have employees. Like, we're going to get into all of that, but yes, super massive growth that you've experienced. So thank you for sharing that. So what was really one of the things that I want to point out is like, okay, so that was 2018 that you were introduced, it sounds like, really to the coaching world.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I know as of recording, we're just about to move into 2022, but that's a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah.
Right? When you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just when I was introduced into coaching, not even when I started coaching people.
You got introduced to coaching in 2018. Mm-hmm. You started coaching in 2019, got certified officially in 2020, and then really started to build your business in 2020, basically when you started working together, right?
I remember I had a goal. I want to make 100K 1 year after I finished certification. And it was also going to be 1 year after my second baby was born.
I love it. I love it. And did you do that?
I did. And I can't believe it still.
So before we officially started recording, we were talking, Sara and I would love for you to let's just go there right away to share with the listeners what you told me as far as like looking back just 2 years ago and to today. I'd love for you to share that.
Okay. Yeah. I was talking to my sister this week, and I said, I think about my life 2 years ago and like what I really wanted. And I realized that I have the exact dream life that I was like hoping for and thinking about. Like, I have that dream life that I imagined 2 years ago right now. And she was like, have you stopped to really think about that and sit with that? Like, do you realize how amazing that is? I said, man, yeah, it is. And because I remember with that, like, especially that first 100K, I was thinking the whole time, how the crap am I going to do this? Like, even up until just 3 months until it was going to be a year, I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but maybe it'll happen. And then, and then we did it. And then it was the same with this last year. You know, my goal was to get to 50K months. Or the last 6 months or so, since I wanted to do that, 50K months. And I was like, how in the world am I going to do that?
Yeah.
And we did it.
Here you are. So let's talk about that for a minute. What is, like, I want you to share a little bit about what those, when you talk about your dream life, your dream business, share what that is. Because I think, again, you're just like, there's so many ways you can do this. And I think you've done this in a way, being a mom with young children, having a very successful company, a very successful program where you're helping literally hundreds of clients every week. Talk a little bit about what that actually looks like, because I think that that's really inspiring, especially for my listeners who are parents, who are juggling life responsibilities outside of, the business as well.
Yeah. So I remember the first time that I met with you, I had my consult call with you, and that was something that was really important. I was like, I don't really want to work more than 20 hours a week right now because I just had a new baby. I really like being with my kids, but I have no idea how I can grow past even like 50K a year and work this. But now I do.
Let's stop there though. I'm going to break this down. Oh,
okay.
Why did you think that? Why was that? Why did you think that? And the reason I'm stopping is because I think this is a thought that I will just say that I think this is something that a lot of coaches think about. Can I really build this business, have my family, have, the schedule that I want, the freedom, all of the things, and make the type of impact and the type of money that I really want to make?
Yeah. Well, I thought it because I had just been certified. And so I thought I had to have a certain amount of time coaching just one-on-one until I could move into a different container.
Okay. So how many one-on-one clients were you coaching or had you coached before we moved into your group program?
I was doing about 10 at a time, and I'd probably done 30 to 40-ish, like between when I started and then.
Okay. So you had a lot of experience coaching. I mean, coaching that amount of one-on-one clients gives you a lot of experience.
Yeah, but I did not see it that way at all.
How did you see it?
Interesting. I thought I'm still new. I'm so young. I just graduated. A lot of it too was like, I don't have any special degrees in, I don't know, whatever my brain was telling me that I needed degrees in, right? I just have this certification. And
Yes. I remember that. You had a lot of beliefs, a lot of thoughts about being able to take the next step. So and I know we'll come back to the dream life, but what was the shift with that? What was the shift that you made to move past that, to move beyond that?
It was trusting that what I wanted was really for me right now instead of for me in the future.
I love it. It's a great thought.
Yeah. And the shift too, that like I can help people in a different container. I can help people just as well as I'm helping them one-on-one. So
Yes, because that was a big deal for you, right? I remember you saying, can I really help them as much, basically, if we're in a group versus a one-on-one?
Yeah.
And what have you found where you are today, now having literally hundreds of clients in your group program? What would you say to your past self about that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I make a lot bigger impact now than I did then. And people are going to progress and take the steps they need to when they're ready, whether or not it's a group format or a one-on-one format.
Okay. So you feel like you being able to look at that now, you see that in probably a lot of ways, you're actually helping clients even more.
Yes. Right? Even more. It's even better. Totally.
I love it. Okay. So for all of you listening, I want you to really think about that, because while it is really important when you're starting out as a coach, I believe, to work one-on-one with clients so that you can gain the experience, you can hone your program, you can build your confidence, you can, really work on your skills as a coach. I also think that because a lot of people come to me and want me to tell them, like, when is it time? Like, am I ready, right, to move into a group program? Am I ready to really take things to the next level? I think sometimes there's this idea, and I've talked about this before in different episodes, where it's almost like these invisible glass ceilings that we put on ourselves, or maybe it's something that we hear, right, where we feel like we have to do things a certain way and in a certain time frame. And if we're not following that, then we're doing something wrong. Yeah. And what I want to offer to everybody is that this journey is very individualized, right? Like, it's a very personal journey to build a business like this. And in some cases, like yourself, Sarah, you you had several one-on-one clients that you had worked with. You were at a point where you saw your vision of what you wanted to create. Were you scared? Were you doubtful? Was there a lot of resistance? Absolutely. But you also trusted the process, and you trusted knowing, like you said, like what you want to create is actually possible for you today, which brings it back to the whole concept that we're talking about, what's possible, which I just think is so amazing. So let's go back to your dream life, because again, this balance that you've achieved, I think, is really amazing. So when you came to me, you said, I want to work 20 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
I just had a baby. I've got these one-on-one clients. I don't know if I'm ready for a group. I feel like I've got to coach one-on-one. Like, is this really possible? Like, that's where you were at just over a year ago, right?
Yeah.
So are you working 20 hours a week now?
Yeah, I'm working 20 to 25. And in fact, that's my goal for this next year, is to cut it down to only 20 and make even more money working even less hours. That's what has me excited right now. But yeah, I've been able to maintain that, and it's been really, really awesome.
That's awesome. So what is working that 20 hours? What does that allow you to do? What has been the impact in your life?
So we just spent a month in Hawaii where I worked even less. I worked even less than like 10 hours a week, and was able to make the same amount of money that month as I was making in previous months. So a lot of financial freedom here. I'm really able to support my family, feeling really abundant and really safe in my finances, which is a total shift from even like 6 months ago. Not that I wasn't making money 6 months ago. I was making enough, right? But I just was really stuck in that, like, it's going to go away.
Yeah, the mindset.
Enough.
Yeah. That's amazing. So it's allowed you to really be present at home, right? With the kids, right? They're small. Really? How old are they right now?
3 and 1.
Yeah. So you've got a lot that you're juggling here. So how has like launching this program, this group program, and like all the things to support that program, like how has that changed your life?
Yeah. So I was laughing because a couple times people have recognized me from my podcast and from, I run a ton of Facebook ads. And so I've had a couple of random people like come up and talk to me and tell me how much they appreciate my work and how life-changing it's been for them. And it's been kind of weird. Kind of weird, but mostly like, oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yes.
So that impact that I imagined, it's really, really there. And with that, like the confidence that I've needed to do that, really stepping into expert, I've really stepped out of this like fearful, like kind of inadequacy place to I am the perfect person to help these people who want to quit pornography.
Yes. And that's, I will say, like, as your coach, Sarah, that's been a really important shift that I've observed in you over, I mean, this is I would say a more recent shift, because I remember back in April when we were meeting, I remember that was a really big thing that we were coaching on at the time, was like, am I like expert enough? Do I have what it takes to really lead these people, to really coach all of these clients? And I know we did a lot of work on that. And I remember specifically like really unpacking some of the thoughts and the beliefs around all of that for you, which I mean, here we are in December. I mean, that's not that long ago. And you've definitely walked fully into that now and are really owning that on a much larger scale. And I think that, the business, I always say like your business growth is going to be a direct correlation with your growth personally, right? Your growth as the leader of your business. And I think that was a really important shift for you this year. Would you agree?
Yes. And I remember because that was with our retreat.
Yeah.
And you and Dr. Sonia helped me with that so much. And I journaled on that for months and months and months.
Yes.
And really tried to step into it. And now I'm in this place where I really do fully believe, like, I don't need the PhDs in like this specific area of people trying to quit porn. There is a lot of that, like PhD and, people really trying to figure out exactly. Anyways, there's a lot of that academic side. And what people need right now is they need a coach. Who can help them get out of the shame, can help them learn to stop buffering.
Yes.
And I'm perfect for that.
Yeah. And I want to just point out too, because I think this is worth acknowledging, like that was not something like that was a shift that really started there. But like you said, it took months and months for you to really build your belief around that.
Yeah.
Right. For you to really build and like step into that energy and to step into that identity, really. And I think that's a really important key here that I want to just highlight for everybody with this work. I think so often we want to just address like we want to just make these shifts like in the moment, which we can absolutely do. But some of these belief systems, depending on what it is, it takes time to focus on it, right? To build the evidence, to build the belief and to cultivate that on a daily basis. So I love that you brought that up because yes, while that shift started to happen in those conversations at our retreat, that was something that you then took over the next several months and really worked on personally as well. And also like in our coaching sessions that now you are able to fully and confidently own that and have created that new identity around that, which is so wonderful. I love that.
Yeah. And I will say too, after that retreat, like the next month after like I started having this shift, that's when I hit that 50K month that I had been trying. Yeah. It was like exactly after that shift started. It was really cool to see.
So good. So good. I love it. I love it. Okay. So 20 hours a week. You've got 2 small children. You are helping hundreds of clients in your program. You just spent a week in Hawaii. And I know a month. I'm sorry, a month in Hawaii. And I already know that that'll be on the calendar for next year.
We would move there if my husband could swing it. We'd be there full time, and we could do that because of my business.
I love it. How amazing is that? Yeah. To think about, to have that ability. It's pretty awesome. I love it. Okay. So I want to just kind of get into the nuts and bolts a little bit, Sara, of your business, of the mindset. I know we've talked through some of that already, but I want to be really clear about what your journey has really looked like. So today, I think it would be good to just share, just so everybody has context. So when you and I started working together, you were making like 3 to 5K a month, right? Working one-on-one with your clients. Here we are a little over a year later, and you're really consistently at those 50K months. So what is your revenue in 2021? What is your total revenue?
So we are at just under 400K for the year.
Okay. So I want to repeat that. In a little over a year, you went from $3,000 to $5,000 a month to consistent $50,000 months. You have received revenue just under $400,000 this year.
Yeah. And last year it was like 40.
Right.
This year it's like 10x. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And December's obviously not over still. So you'll likely be right there. Okay. So let's talk about how you did that.
Okay. Yes.
So obviously a big part of this was moving from one-on-one to a group program, which freaked you out.
It did.
For a long time, right?
It took me a little while to really confidently believe in that. Yeah.
Okay. So what were some other challenges, would you say, that you were experiencing in your business or in terms of your mindset when you were in that place where you were like, gosh, I want to create this, but I'm working with clients. I don't want to work. I've got my kids. I don't want to work more than 20, 25 hours a week. What was really going on in terms of mindset, business, all of that?
Yeah. So I remember being like, okay, so if I want to hit 50K months, I need to get 33 clients a month. How the heck am I going to do that?
Yep.
And so there's a lot of drama there about how exactly, where exactly are these clients going to come from? It felt kind of like, I don't know, magical. And I'm not sure how they're going to show up. Maybe they just will. And so what really, really helped me get out of that was, of course, you and your program and all of your business coaching helped me get into the math over the drama.
Okay.
And setting up my funnel. So I do a webinar funnel right now. where I teach a class, and right now it's evergreen. So it's just going constantly in the background and then converting those into sales.
Yep.
And I remember the first time I did that webinar, the conversions were okay, but they weren't great. I think it was maybe 5%. Like they were pretty low.
Okay.
And I didn't know what was going on. And I was like, this isn't, I don't know exactly what's happening. And then you helped me and you sat down with me and we looked at the numbers, like specifically all the ad numbers, specifically all the webinar numbers, like attendees versus those who came to or who heard the call to action, all of that. And we were able to like pinpoint exactly where the like little problem was. And then we fixed that one thing in my webinar. And it went to like 15-20% conversions.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, that's an amazing conversion for a webinar. It's amazing. So, okay, let's talk about the math versus the drama for a minute. When you look at, like, reflect on this past year, like, do you think in terms of like you stepping into the identity of CEO, the identity of like a true business owner, do you think that that has been a big part of it, is being able to separate the emotions? Okay.
Yes. I think a lot of people think that like it's either, you know, be really joyful about your business and like spirit led or business and numbers led. I think they think it has to be either or, but it's not. Like I do both and I really embody both, where I do look at the numbers and I like really prioritize like my inner knowing, and I prioritize being joyful in my work.
Yes.
And having both has created this like massive, all these massive results for me.
Yeah. And I want to just speak to that for a minute, because that's something that I see a lot right now in the industry. I agree. I think there's, you know, kind of two approaches when it comes to building a coaching business. It's like very, very, you know, heavy on the strategy, or very like heavy on the, what's the term that I want to use? I don't know. It's like all of the
spirit. I don't know.
Yeah. Like maybe the spiritual, right? Which I fully agree with you on that. And I've always been a believer, like you have to trust your intuition. You have to do the inner work. Like that by far is the most important, because that is what drives the strategy. But the truth is if you don't have a strategy, if you don't actually build a foundation in the business, a foundation that it really needs, there is no way to build a business to the level that you've built it. There just isn't. Like, do you think about like not doing certain things that we've, like, I just think about, okay, had we not set up like this system in your business, like you'd probably still be doing one-on-one clients, right?
I would, and I would be really stressed about where are they going to come from and how am I going to make it happen? But now it's just kind of like clockwork. I know exactly all these different parts of my business. And now it's set up to where I can scale to $1 million.
Yes.
And it's just math. Because all this foundation is set in place where my coaching container can hold that many clients and help that many clients. I have, you know, a marketing funnel that works really well. Now it's just tweaking that to get to the numbers I want to get to.
So I want to say something that's really important for everybody. There is, I think, a lot of misperceptions about what it takes to kind of take a business like yours, Sarah, where you're working with clients one-on-one. It's a service-based business, and getting it to $1 million. And I will tell you, in it doesn't matter what niche you're in, you have to obviously you have to provide a great service, right? You have to work with clients that typically starts one-on-one. And we know the reasons why that's important. But really, in the evolution of any business, the next step is you have to have some type of machine, some type of automation, something that is helping you with your marketing, right? It's helping to drive people into your business, a sales system, right? You have to have certain things in place in order to be able to really help that volume. I mean, think about helping. How many clients do you have right now in the program? It's over 200, right? You can just guess. It says
281.
Okay. Almost 300 clients, right? Like that is a lot of people. If you were face to face with 281 people, that's a lot of people, right? we can't help that volume of people when we don't have certain things in our business. So I just see a lot of emphasis a lot of times on things in the industry, on different tactics and things like that, that truthfully are not really supporting the business in being able to support that volume of clients. Right?
Yeah. Totally.
So I want to point that out because I just think that that's a really important consideration for all of you listening, that I know my listeners, all of them want to build very successful businesses. Some have already built their business to that first 100K. They're looking to go beyond that. When you get to a certain point, like when you are ready to move into a more leveraged program and move beyond one-on-one, there's a real system that has to be set up so that you can really handle the volume of clients like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which kind of back to a lot of my drama about going into, I was worried, how can I support this many clients at once? How can I create a system to do that? And now I love my program so much. And I know it helps people so much. And that's because of, the system and a lot of the stuff that we've done together.
I love it. I love it. So good. So when you think back about your overall, like the most significant transformations, the breakthroughs, the results that you've experienced, because you've created, I mean, you're on your way right now, you're on your way to 1 million. Like that's the next big goal here, but you've accomplished, I mean, massive growth here in this past year. So what has been, if you were to pinpoint like some of the most significant breakthroughs that you've had, the most significant like inner transformations in that journey, what were those?
A few we already touched on was just stepping into that expert energy and really seeing myself as that person. Which I do now, which I really, really do now. And I couldn't say that 6 months ago. Stepping into 50K a month energy, and which really is stepping into the CEO energy.
Yep.
So now I have 2 coaches that work for me, and I have 2 assistants that work with me. It's stepping into that leadership position and trusting people to do that, and taking the time I need to hire the right person. Right? That was a whole thing.
Yeah. Do you want to go into that at all, or do you? We don't have to.
Just for a second, like I was nervous because I've hired 2 coaches to help with one-on-one. So I decided a part of my program is still to offer one-on-one services to people, but I don't have the time to do all of that. So right now I have 15, 20-ish people who are doing one-on-one with my coaches that I've hired. And I really had to make sure that I hired someone who was really aligned with my vision, who had the skill set and had the willingness to learn and to be trained a little bit by me. And then I had to step into this energy of, I'm someone who trains other coaches to coach people. Like now it's not just I'm like the perfect person to help people quit porn, but I'm the perfect person to help people learn how to coach people to quit porn.
Yes. So what have been some really important thoughts that you've had that have really helped you shift into that?
I have a sticky note that on my desk that says dignity. That just seems to be my word for some reason, for me and for my clients, right? Like dignity. That's something that I bring to all of this. And for myself, I'm bringing dignity to, instead of beating myself up and feeling so much like self-doubt and like worrying and thinking I'm not good enough, I'm bringing a lot of dignity to myself. And like, I am worthy. I am worth this. Other thoughts, it's really just like stuff that's focused on my clients. Like my clients need this. I have the demand and people want this help. And because I have that, I know that I can create it. And whenever I go to myself, I really try to just go back and focus on the client because I know, and this is something I've hung on to through this whole journey and I think has created this really massive success, really. And I've had this, that I know people who are trying to quit viewing porn need this approach. And they're not going to find it anywhere else. And I know it's the best thing for them. And so I always just go back to that. And because of that, I know that I can figure it out. I can learn how to train these people to coach them. I can find the best people to help me with this demand.
Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera.
So what you just said is such a great example, again, of Like we want to know the how, right? Like it's very like so often. And I will say like there is a part of it where there is a time and a place where you do have to know the how. Like it's not enough to like, it's not going to work if you don't have some how involved, right? But even when you have the how, when you start moving forward, when the business grows, as you start to evolve, as your business evolves, like what you just shared, like stepping into the role of actually leading other coaches, training other coaches, becoming that expert, right? Like so much of this is that personal journey that yes, you do need the how to a degree, but the how will change and the how will evolve and the how you'll just tweak along the way. Right. And I love what you just said about like, I always know that I'll figure it out. Like that thought right there, that approach has, from my observation too, allowed you to really experience the growth that you have because you have the belief, no matter what, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I have a lot of evidence for that now too, that I have been able to figure it out. And I have the support, specifically I'm thinking you and your program and your coaching.
Yeah.
That I just know I, of course, will figure this out. Like no doubt. No doubt.
Right. So good. So good. Okay. So Sara, when you think about the future and you think about what's possible, right? And we've talked about this a little bit, but like where you were 2 years ago, you had the vision, you had the idea, you had the thought about what you wanted to create, and you were not believing. And you were not sure how that was going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look forward and you've achieved it, you've achieved all of it, which is, I love it. So when you look ahead, right, you look at the next evolution here, what do you think is really possible now based on the work that we've done, the foundation that we've set, like all the personal work that you've done in this process? What do you think is possible now?
Well, it's really funny because like my goal now is I want to do $1 million in a year, and I want to do it in like by cutting my hours back by 5 hours a week. So I'm at 20 hours for sure, like not over that. And it's so funny because I believe I can do that, like totally certain in that. Totally certain. Yeah. I believe in that so much more than I ever believed I could make 100K or I ever believed I could do 50K months.
That's so good. That's so good. So it's probably going to happen quick then if we've got that level of belief. I love it. I love it. So that's just so amazing. So literally let's go back to the timeline. Introduced to coaching 2018, started coaching sometime in 2019, became certified, like basically decided, okay, I need to, take things to the next level. That was 2020. Here we are. Like now what you just said, I'm so certain in creating this $1 million, this next big jump, right? Does that blow your mind?
Yeah. Yeah. And also like, no, yes and no. Like it doesn't feel super out there for me.
Oh, that's so good. Why do you think that is? Let's dive into that for a minute.
Well, part of it is just I am so in love with the coaching industry and so grateful for all the people that I've heard doing amazing things. And I'm so grateful. I think of like Brooke and I think of Jody more specifically, who were brave enough to say, I've created this much money in my business. And so you can too. Because it's kind of a scary thing to say. Like, I don't tell people how much money I make because I'm scared. Because I'm scared of what they're going to think about me, or they're scared that they're going to think like, oh, she's not really doing her business for the right reason. Right. Which is silly. Yeah. But it's because of people sharing what's possible for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry, what was the question?
So what do you think? Yeah. Like when you think about this next like evolution, this like, does it blow your mind that you've created what you've created today? Like when you look back just 2 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And honestly, like probably the thing I'm the most proud of is that first 100K. And the 50K, because that was like my crazy goal was to do that a year after certification and while having a brand new baby and in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that like blows my mind. And so I don't know, it's just funny. It's just funny how the number doesn't necessarily equal like how big that is in my mind. Like $1 million doesn't feel as big as like that first 100K does. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting. Well, I do think like there's so much to be said for that when you're starting out, when you're building to that first 100K, that grind where it feels so difficult that so often I think so many coaches just want to get out of that immediately. They just want to like get to that first 100K as soon as possible, which by the way, I'm all for to like accelerate things. I don't think it needs to take years. Okay. Like if it's taking years, there's probably something that we need to be addressing. That's how I really feel about it. But you know, I think like as the business grows, and I know even, you know, for my own business, like there's just things get a little bit more complex, right? Like there's just more things there's more pieces that are in place, right? There's more things that you have to be focused on. And I just think that there is something to be had for that time when you are in that first phase of really building and grinding it out. And so appreciate that. I would encourage everybody to appreciate that if that's where they're at, appreciate the journey that's there, the lessons that are there, because you will learn so much going through that.
Yeah. And if you do it correctly, you get through that 100K and you have like a really solid foundation where now it's not like, well, now what? Like, how do I go? It becomes more math.
Yes. Which is definitely the work that we do. So any other insights that you think would be helpful to share for listeners who, again, are really looking to build their business to that $1 million level, beyond to maybe that first 100K, or maybe it's 500K, whatever that is for them, that are in that process right now? What would you say?
Yeah, one thing that I really want to mention here is Facebook ads, because Facebook ads seem to get a lot of hate recently, especially in the coaching industry. Like I see a lot of people, you know, like hating on Facebook ads. But that is one of the most valuable thing that I've received from working with you, and really is what pushed me to 50K months. Okay. Totally. I would not be able to be there without like an ad strategy. Yep. And I remember when we were doing, like, looking at all the numbers, I thought all my clients were coming from me posting on my Instagram. They weren't. My clients were coming from my Facebook ads, which blew my mind. Yeah.
I mean, going back to like that whole like phase, the evolution of a business. I mean, y'all, I'm just going to be real with you. Like, you can build your business to a certain level on social media. You can build it, you know, you can make some money for sure. I'm not saying that can't be done, but if you want to go to 1 million, if you want to really make a much bigger impact, there has to be some engine there. There has to be a machine in the business, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's Instagram ads, it could be YouTube ads. I mean, there are so many different ways you can approach it, but yeah, I agree. I think that there is a lot of hate around Facebook ads, and I just know for like clients like you, Sara, that really lean into that process, really embrace it. It is what catapults. That is what amplifies your growth. And you're just not able to do those kinds of months financially, typically, without having something powering that. And I think that's really important for people to understand. And I do think that there's actually a lot of misinformation out there in the industry. And this is why I like to approach all of this from an actual business perspective. When you think about the biggest companies, when you think about all of the companies that are huge, massive, you know, retailers or service-based companies, and you think about marketing, they have major marketing departments. They have major marketing budgets. There's a reason for that. Companies don't get to a certain level without having their marketing, without having their sales dialed in. Really, really important. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I do think that's important. And by the way, again, this can look different for everybody, right? Some coaches are more successful on different platforms, right? We've got coaches that are on TikTok. We've got some that are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, but you do have to have something powering that level of growth. And so thank you for bringing that up, because that is not just a coaching thing. That is a business. That is a business principle. That is really important to understand, that I unfortunately see a lot of people that they're not focusing on that in their business. And the truth is if they could probably have more revenue, a lot more revenue if they were.
Yeah. And again, it's not either we focus on ads and we focus on the business side of things, or we focus on the intuition and the joy and like the woo-woo part almost. Like you can have both. And I know, well, I don't know if you talk about this on your podcast, but I know that you do a lot of both, that you really believe in like the spiritual woo-woo side and the business. And that's been really fun for me too, because you've introduced me to a lot of that. Yes. I don't know. Woo-woo is the word I'm calling it. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah. Yeah. The spiritual side. Yeah. It's this is a spiritual journey for sure. But the business, it's the difference between being a business owner and being a coach. And there's a very big difference between those two roles. And if you're a solopreneur, if you're a coach building a business like this, you are both. You have to be both. You have to be a coach, a great coach, and you also have to be a great business owner. Yeah. And I think
it makes it really easy to become that business owner when you have someone who's just teaching you and helping you do it.
Yeah.
Every single way. I think about, last thing I'll say, like, I think about what if, because when I had my consultation with you, one thing I said to you is like, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm afraid that me hiring a coach is just me buffering and not actually taking control of my problems. And you said to me, I think that if you don't hire a coach, you're going to continue to buffer, like 100%. How you're buffering.
Yeah. I see it all over. I see it over and over. Yes.
I thought I should be able to figure it out by myself. I thought it was like my problem, but really I just needed a mentor who could help me.
Yeah.
Like if I wouldn't have done that, I can't even imagine where it'd be at today.
So good. Love it. Awesome. Sara, you are amazing. You are such an example of what is possible. Thank you for sharing your journey today. Thank you for sharing all of your insights. Where can people find you if they want to work with you and look you up?
Yeah, so you can just look me up on Instagram, Sara Brewer Coaching, Sara without an H, or you can find me on my podcast. My podcast is called Overcome Pornography for Good, or if you just look up Sara Brewer under Apple Podcasts, I have a really thriving podcast right now. Or you can come to my website, sarabrewer.com, and then you can like look up my free class and kind of see what my funnel looks like if you want to.
Awesome. So good. It has been such an honor, Sara. Thank you so much for coming on. Have a great rest of the day. All right. Talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Life Coach Business Podcast. If you want to learn more about how to build, grow, and scale your business and accelerate your results, visit amandakarlstadcoaching.com.